Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough! Now, while technically I should go over to the, do the Goddess of Fate Cup, it's not gonna happen, because I'm not quite there yet. However, something that will most certainly help us in our quest is getting the Ultima weapon. And basically, that's what this part is involved with doing. So, to get the Ultima weapon, you need 7 Orichalcum pluses, then you need energy crystals, twilight and dense crystals, and serenity crystals, mithril crystals, and regular Orichalcum. So it's 7 Orichalcum pluses, 3 Orichalcums, 1 energy crystal, 1 twilight crystal, 1 dense crystal, 1 mithril crystal, and 1 serenity crystal. And then you use something to kind of cut that down. I can't remember what it is. Now, basically you get energy crystals from bookmasters in Radiant Garden / Hollow Bastion near Merlin's house. You need the energy crystal in order to cut down the number of Orichalcums that the recipe says you need. So you cut it down from it saying 13 to 7. You get the Twilight and Dense crystals from Nobody's in North Skyway. Just fight through and get them. And Serenity crystals you can get from the Moogles for giving them complete sets of materials, and also defeat the assassins in the world that never was. Mithril crystals are found in random item chests, and the same for regular Orichalcums. The complicated thing comes when you want the Orichalcum pluses, and I just realised I said we're going to try and get the Ultima weapon, but we can't get it until after the wonder that is the Goddess of Fate Cup, but this is also going to allow us to do other stuff, and give us some nice grinding to do at the same time. So, your 7 Orichalcum pluses in the game are for clearing Atlantica, clearing the 100 Acre Woods, the small chest in the world that never was in the Brink of Despair, but next to the big chest, the chest in Twilight Town in Sunset Terrace, where you jump onto the moving train and then go up onto the building, chest in the Space Paranoids on your second visit just before you fight Sark and the MCP. And also you get one for collecting all the materials and giving them to the Moogles for the synthesis. So basically you need at least one of every single material in the game. What this entire part is basically dedicated towards is getting that, because there are certain ones that I ended up missing. And rather irritating. I'm pretty sure they were mostly the blazing stuff, which is so annoying. So I had to do a wonderful grinding session here in Olympus Coliseum in the Underworld. Have to go to Beast's Castle for a little bit, and then I had a really, really huge and wonderful trip to the Pride Lands. And just, I will say, getting all of this stuff is nowhere near as bad as it was in the original Kingdom Hearts, because, if I recall correctly, in the original Kingdom Hearts you had to synthesize every single item to unlock the Ultima weapon recipe, and then get enough things to make the Ultima weapon, and that took forever. Whereas here, you only need to get up to level 4 on your synthesis thing. You can go higher, but there's no need to, because you just need the energy crystals to be able to half the amount of stuff you need. And just, yeah, it's a lot easier to do here than it was in the original game. And basically, considering, like, I've played the entire game up until this point, and it's only by just really bad luck that I haven't gotten these very specific items. That it's just bad luck. Now, I believe that the items that I need to get in the underworld are from these little fellas here. The bomb things. I can't remember at all what the thing's called, but it's one of those. And yeah, just it's a lot quicker to get the ultimate weapon here than it was. And if I recall correctly, when I first played Kingdom Hearts 2, I think I did actually manage to get ultimate weapon. I may be completely wrong in that, but I do think I might have done, because it's so much easier. Also, we are going to be making use of sweet memories, because at least I think we are. I know I've attached it now, but I don't know whether it's going to stay for very long. Because it increases your chances of getting items, and that's precisely what I need. The one thing that I will say which is rather irritating about Kingdom Hearts 2 is that you get to the end point here, and we've kind of basically run out of reasonable things to cover. And by that I mean, like, there are no new areas to visit. The only thing that's kind of waiting for us is like the secret optional boss and the final boss, and that's it. But having said that, basically my problem is that in the original Kingdom Hearts, by the time you got kind of everything done, and got to the end of the world, like, you were reasonably high level. Like, you were probably around the same. But then with the amount of other stuff that you could do, and the amount of time it took to get to things, it was very easy to level up all the way to, like, level 70 or wherever I was when I finally defeated Sephiroth. Like, there wasn't a huge amount of grinding, because it was all the stuff that I had to do allowed me to reach that level, essentially. In Kingdom Hearts 2, you don't have that. Also, there we go, we've got Blazing Crystal, Blazing Stone. I believe that was what we needed, so that is our time done here for now, I think, which is good. But yeah, there's not a lot of areas for you to grind, and grinding can get boring. I mean, I'll be honestly surprised if anybody makes it through the entirety of this part without getting bored, but yeah, so you get to like level 55 or 45 or whatever it is, depending on the difficulty level you're going on, and then there's really nowhere to go. I mean, like, there are certain locations which are excellent for grinding levels on your drive forms, and I'll certainly be pointing one of them out. But just in general, you're basically forced to just go through all of the worlds again and just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And to be able to take on the optional boss, you're gonna want to be, I say, at least level 70. Arguably, you probably want to try and be up at level 99, because, well, pretty much I think everyone says that Sephiroth is easier in Kingdom Hearts 2 than he is in Kingdom Hearts 1. I suck at it. It's kind of depressing. But, I mean, Sephiroth is nigh on impossible at the level that we're going to be at when I go to show him off. It's just... can't help it. So... I think in Final Mix there's probably a little bit more of an option of stuff to do. Because... if only because there are more optional bosses to take on. Arguably, it's just as bad. Because I think the optional bosses that you have to take on are really difficult. Because you have the data fights against the deceased organisation members. And you also have Lingering Sentiment, or Lingering Will, however you want to call it. Which is the ultra-secret, super hard fight that they added. Which, from what I can see, is just, like, ridiculous. So having, kind of... not having enough stuff to do to get your level up is just kind of like... oh, that's a bit depressing. I think it's something that they did manage to sort of fix, come like Birth by Sleep, sort of in the sense of they gave you ways of being able to rapidly increase your level. I mean, I can't remember which Keyblade it is in here, which does increase the amount of experience you get from enemies. But in like Birth by Sleep they had the D-Links, and if you used, I think it was either Mickey or Stitch, were absolute godsends. I think using them both together just kind of, you could get so much experience with it. It was just beautiful. And I think in Dream Drop Distance, the hardest challenge there is, you don't need to be that ridiculously high a level to complete it. Whereas here, you aren't really given that many options to be able to complete the really hard thing that requires you to be a high level, but there's not enough for you to do to get to that really high level. If you get what I mean. If anything, I say it's kind of a big problem the Final Fantasy series has suffered. And I think it is an RPG thing. Is that there are times where you have to face down super hard bosses, but you're not given enough chance to level up enough to be able to do it. It's sucky. I hope they don't screw us over like that in Kingdom Hearts 3, because they have shown that they can kind of save you from it in Kingdom Hearts 1 and so on and so forth. I mean, that's not to say I don't want a super hard boss fight, but still. Also, I cannot for the life of me remember what blooming item I came in here to try and get. I think I may have already got it. Possibly. Either way, basically the two things that I need are Frost Stone and Frost Crystal. And rather irritatingly, the crystals are stupidly rare. Stone's less so, but oh good grief. The horror that I had trying to get the Frost Crystal, because it's like the only two. The only two that I needed. And it's just like... But something that I will say that's kind of really quite shocked me about my playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 2 here is that even though Kingdom Hearts 2 is most definitely a longer game than the original Kingdom Hearts, playthrough's not that long. I mean, it's obviously long. But, like, in terms of the amount of parts, it's sitting at pretty much exactly the same length as the original Kingdom Hearts walkthrough. And that was covering everything. I mean, admittedly, there were shorter parts. I mean, they were all kind of sitting between 10 and 25. Whereas this has got, like, some 30, 40-minute parts in it. But in terms of sort of splitting the game up into nice, neat things, it's about the same. Also, if you want to level up Wisdom Form, do it here. Because basically, I mean, even though the enemies do have quite high life bars, they go down so quickly. And also, you can go out through to the Cornerstone Hill if you are in a form. And, okay, never mind. I thought you could save yourself. Evidently not. But it's an excellent place for getting your levelling up Wisdom Form, because enemies just die so quickly that you can just defeat a lot. And I think you technically are able to do the drive gauge glitch thingy, but I can't quite remember how it works, which is really bad. So having done that, it's time for us to go to Agrabah, which is where we are, I think, going to get the Frost Stone from. I would go through where you get all of the items from in terms of enemies, but I'd say it's such a long list. Just look up a guide, and or just go through the entirety of this playthrough and just see what enemies dropped what, because that's the only way you're going to be able to figure it out. Anyway, I can't quite remember which enemy it is that provides us with the Frost Stone, but it's certainly around here somewhere, I think. Maybe. I have absolutely no idea anymore. Because I think what I always ended up doing was just kind of like, because there's so many synthesis items, and there are a number of possible enemies that will drop the items that you need, you just end up with this just like, situation where it's just like, I can't really be bothered. So, it's good, we've got the Frost Stone. We just need the Frost Crystal. I can't remember where we got that Frost Stone from, but we got it from somewhere. It shows how little attention I am paying. But we need to get the Frost Crystal. Now the Frost Crystal is only available from one enemy. The living bones in the Pride Lands. Yay. If there was one single item that it took me forever to get, it was this one. Like, I mean, I'm sure pretty much most people playing the game would have just gotten it at some point whilst they were here. But me, nope. No Frost Crystals in sight. And so I have to hunt them. The frustrating thing about this is that while there are a lot of living bones to defeat throughout the Pride Lands, you are basically going to be constantly going through the jungle, back again, through the elephant graveyard, back again. There are a lot of there are a lot of living bones in the elephant graveyard, but still, your likelihood of getting a bloomin' frost crystal is just so small. It's just... ugh. I was here for like a good 10 minutes. Like, before I cut this part down, it was like 35 minutes long. Like, I left the other stuff in because that was all reasonably quick. But I was here for so long and I was just getting so fed up. And it's why grinding is an awful thing to have to do in a game. Like, it's something that I've kind of begun to be just very annoyed at. And it's why, like, in Pokemon, I'm so glad they increased the abilities of the EXP share, because it just makes things so much smoother and so much more enjoyable, and you're not just sitting here suffering through tedium to get just minuscule things that you need for something, but yeah. But thank God we have our Frost Crystal. We have absolutely everything we need, well, that we can possibly get right now, to get the ultimate weapon. So we only have one option left to do, and that is to go take on the Goddess of Fate Cup. So this is going to be interesting. There may be a few other things that we do, but I'm pretty sure that is our next objective. Don't worry, I get those Serenity Crystals. Although, actually, no, I don't need them, because we half the thing, it's great. But yeah. Our quest is done. For item collection, I don't think I do end up making Save the Queen and Save the King, I just kind of got fed up. But, Goddess of Fate Cup. We are going to get that ultimate weapon, and it is going to be wonderful!